これぐらい軽いだろ。
いや、超重いっす。
失礼なやつめ。20回追加だ。It's my turn, bitch.
Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. I know we skipped last week, but you know what? It's that Rona time, quarantine. You know, there's not a whole lot going on out there, so that might happen until this passes over. So, yeah. But so as the main episodes may not be consistent, one thing that will be two things that will be consistent is the manga reviews. Will still be happening. Those are going to be every other Wednesday. And our new segment for Tower of God will be every Friday as we talk about the latest episode and chapter for the manhwa. So that's going to be consistent for sure. So we'll look forward to that. And tomorrow or this week, there's going to be a new Marvel talk as well. Sorry for the delay on that again. And that's because also of quarantine time. So what are you going to do? Yeah, and we're trying to figure out what to do for future episodes coming up. So stay posted on all that over on Marvel Talk. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into this episode. We got an email from the boy Mark from last week. When you watch, read, play a game, movie, book, TV show, etc., like any sort of media that you consume, have you ever encountered a plot hole or some element of the story not explained yet, or at all that bothers you to this date? If so, which one? And I'm going to let you start it off, Julian, because his example, he says, they never explained in Doom Eternal what happened to Doom Guy from 2016 Doom to Eternal, like in between those games, and how did he get to that space station?
Yeah, that is one thing that I tried to figure out too. I'm pretty sure him being Doom Guy, he just shot and killed his way to there, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know, I can't think of any right now. Off the top of my head.
I have one for sure, and I've brought it up before on the podcast. I don't think I brought up the plot hole, but yeah, so this manga, Cage of Eden, right? Love that manga. It was very interesting. You know, we find out at the end of the series that all of our characters got sent to the future when the plane crashed, and that's how they wound up on this island, because the island wasn't even there in present day, and the manga just never explained how it happened. It upsets me because, one, it's like, oh, come on, like, I know it probably got canceled, and that's why it got so weird at the end of the manga, but at least you could throw something in there, because if you don't, then I just don't really want to look at the whole series as a whole anymore, you know? So that really upsets me, that they never explained it. And now I will always think of Cage of Eden for that. Like, oh, yep, they just got flung into the future, and we don't know why. I don't know, I did bring this up. Yeah, I remember it was an old episode, I think, when I was talking about my theory of how they're in the future. But I won't get into that right now.
I think the only thing I can think of, only because off the top of my head I can't name any, but I know there's so many inside Kingdom Hearts.
Oh man, here we go again. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's just a lot in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I do have one, and I don't know, maybe because you just recently played it, Julian, maybe you have an answer for me. BioShock Infinite DLC, when Elizabeth is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I first played it through, I was like, okay, I don't really get it. You know, like, I get Booker exists in different timelines, which was fine, and that was probably Elizabeth as well, but she had all this preordained knowledge already of Booker. You know, like, was she from the original timeline and then moved on over? I was never really sure.
So see, that's the thing about this game, is it's just fucking confusing at a certain point, and the DLCs just continue that confusion, because what the DLCs try to do is try to take the confusing ending, multiple timelines, and then try to connect it into one timeline again. It's kind of weird, but I think Because she's Elizabeth, she just knows, or that's. Well, then again, did you play the DLCs?
Yeah, I did, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah. So remember how, quote unquote, Booker isn't there. Spoilers, sorry. Booker isn't there in the second part of the DLC.
Mm-hmm. Because he's dead.
Yeah, because he's dead, but she still knows a lot about him. I don't know. It's really confusing, but that game is just full of plot holes too.
Yeah, I know when it comes out for the Switch, I'm probably gonna cop it again, and I'm gonna replay it. So I'm probably gonna come back to this next month when it drops. But yeah, I was just very confused. I was like, okay, well, I get there's multiple, you know, timelines clearly because there's Booker, and then there's what's his name with the C.
The C, Comstock.
Yeah, Comstock. There you go. Because they're like two different versions of Booker.
Yeah, isn't that crazy too? I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like when I saw him get baptized, I was like, okay, I get it. You know, this is a different timeline, but how did you get here? And that's just one big plot hole, man. I hope I can get some reasoning when I play it through next week. I mean, not next week, next month. But that's the first one that comes to my mind besides Kingdom Hearts. I got one for you, Danny. Maybe you have an answer for me on this one. Part 6, JoJo. The ending.
Yeah,
How it ends.
Okay.
How it ends with Irene, who is spoiler, Jolene. But then part 7, we just go back in time.
Well, see, here's my thing about part 6 to 7 for JoJo is, okay, so if we're talking JoJo, right? He originally wanted it to end at part 6, right? With Stone Ocean. That's why when Steel Ball Run was made, it wasn't called JoJo until I don't know like what the official story is, but eventually he's like, okay, this is actually part 7 of JoJo now.
Okay.
Yeah, like I always thought like it's just a separate universe from what the end of part 6 was. So that's how I see it. I mean, unless he really wants to pull a fast one on us at the end of part 8 and just bring those characters back. Because if I'm trying to think, part 8 is what year is that in? That's in 2000. It's in the 2000s, right? If I remember right.
I think so. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Since part 8 here. Let me see if I can find out.
Yeah, so I mean, if he wants, he can pull those characters in. But I wouldn't see. The only reason I would see him doing that would be for Emporio, right? Because he's the only character we know from the old JoJo verse that could pull up.
Right, that survived. Unless there's all those theories about Giorno surviving because GER is just stupid.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. It's in 2011, and I think part 6 was 2006, I think, right?
It's in 2011 too.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's been like, excuse me, it's been over a year since I read Julian, so I don't know what's going on in the series. But yeah, if he wants to, Emporio can just totally show up. I mean, other plot holes is, there's the classic Toriyama stuff with Super. There's a lot of stuff in there. Of course, Last Jedi, right, Julian? There's so much in there.
I still haven't seen Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker.
Please, just don't at this point. Just don't. Just don't. At this point, just don't. Just forget about it and just pretend. Just make up your own ending, Adam. That's all I gotta say. Because you'd probably come up with a better ending than what. Fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't spend money on him.
Good, please. I did, and I can't have that money back.
Yeah.
Because Disney is fucking. It's horrible. It's horrible. Like how is it? How are we? How long has it been since Last Jedi? 2 years. About so, right?
Last Jedi
Something
was
like that.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, and I'm still like fucking appalled of how fucking retarded it was.
Yeah.
How do you take a franchise and then stain it like that, and that stain can't be rubbed off? Like, when you're cleaning shit, It's like, you can't clean the shit off. No matter how many chemicals you use, it's just what the fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, there's plot hole. That's plot hole mania.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So Mark continues on, and he asks, how do you feel about reboots, and what reboots did you like and not like? The reason he asked is because when he sent the email, they announced a reboot for Digimon with the OG team from season 1, and I guess a trailer dropped. I didn't see the trailer for this one.
I saw some scans for it.
Yeah, I think I saw scans for it. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
I'm pretty happy with it. As far as the question goes, what's a reboot I can think of off the top of my head?
Yeah, because reboots are very few to come out, right? As far as what I've played, I mean, technically you could count FF7 Remake as a reboot since they're changing up subtle things to the lore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, because I think the terminology has to be defined. So a reboot would be like you're just revamping the entire game, versus a remaster would just kind of be like new graphics. Nothing changes. It's just HD.
So a remake. What usually that means is an example is the Metro series, Last Light in 2033. When those got ported to PS4 and Xbox One, they updated the graphics and everything. Like, it looks nicer. Like, they actually went in and remade a few things. Whereas, in a reboot, it's like, we're scrapped. Like, a reboot would be DMC Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
is the one that could come to mind. Which, after really going back into seeing what the whole story is with those characters, and it's not all bad from what I remember, but that's not the best reboot.
Yeah,
I could think of. If we want to get into that fuzzy lane with soft reboots, then I would say for sure God of War 4. Right, it's kind of a soft reboot to the series.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Yes, I definitely.
Which, I mean, that was phenomenal.
It's because it's the same. With that sense, it's the same series, same universe. Picks up where it leaves off, I would say. But it's kind of he's like, it's the same character, just in a new world, new problems, kind of like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a reset onto the journey for Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just like that.
I think reboots are fine as long as you don't really upset the fan base as far as what you do for the continuity. The perfect example is people were pissed off at DMC Devil May Cry, right, with the scene where the wig falls on Dante and he says not in a million years, and that upset people. Pretty much like ignoring where you came from and how we're able to get a reboot for the series. As long as you don't do that, I'm fine with it. If the franchise is over, right? Like Devil May Cry, I think will probably be the only special case when it comes to them. Like, we're gonna reboot the series, and then they end up backtracking back to the original timeline. Which is pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as, like what you said, Danny, as long as it's done right, it doesn't forget its source material at the same time, but also trying new things at the same time. One reboot that did piss me off, though, was Ninja Turtles, Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles. That was Kakapupu.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about films, that's there's a lot of misses. Yeah. And speaking of Ninja Turtles, like, they're rebooting that movie again. Oh, and of course, they're rebooting the Power Rangers movie, which is...
Didn't it just get a reboot?
It did.
Well, that movie was, what, 2016? 2017?
Yeah.
Damn.
Something like that.
Yeah, and they're just gonna start over, and it's like, come on, man.
Okay, when it comes to movies, it's hard for me to enjoy the reboot because there's so many other variants that they throw in there. That's like, okay, what's the point of this? You know, like Power Rangers is a great example. You know, I personally did not see the latest one, which came out around that time, but I have a buddy, Omar, loves Power Rangers to death. The guy's a huge fan, and he watched this. So I went to him, you know, asking him for, you know, recommendation. Hey, is it pretty solid? What is it? And he goes, dude, don't even waste your time. He goes, it
Damn,
looks,
really?
it looks nice, but he's all, don't even waste your time, dude. It's just not, it's not a fun ride at all. I was like, all right,
Oh,
cool. You know, so I never went to go even give it a shot because it's like
I'm gonna
I'm
have to
okay.
disagree with him on that one, Adam. I like that movie.
Oh, really?
I think it's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, he did not. He was very passionate about disliking the movie. He was like it looked appealing to him, but he was not a fan.
You know what's growing on me more, if we're talking about reboots, I guess this kind of counts, right? Would be the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man 1 movie, right, with Garfield as Spider-Man. I've been thinking about that first movie a lot more lately, and I'm like, yeah, you know, there's some really good stuff in there.
You know, I really liked the first one. I did not like I didn't like the second one as much.
Hmm.
Mainly because I didn't like how they did Electro. I didn't
Right?
like it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 has some problems.
the first one, I've seen it a good couple times recently, and I've started to like it a lot more. I mean, Lizard was great. The A lot of the build up was really really nice. You know,
Hmm.
I thoroughly really do like Garfield as Spider-Man. I think he just got stuck with the short end of the stick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he did too.
Julian, would you consider the Crystal Dynamic Tomb Raider trilogy as a reboot?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
because in the I didn't finish the third one, and I think I'm gonna have to force myself to finish the third one. But there is like an origin part of Lara
Hmm.
in that game, and yeah, just that scene alone makes me think, yeah, this is a reboot for sure. Um, and you know, it was cool. I guess I think it was cool for at the time, but I think the execution for the third one is what really like just put the salty taste in our mouths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I
Because
do enjoy that first movie or the first game a lot.
the first, yeah, me too. I do enjoy the first one. I could definitely go back to that one, which I should. And then the second one was good too. That's when it started like getting off the slope. But the third one was, you know, it was it was it tried to go for like a very serious Lara approach, but I feel like it should have went more seriously. That's why I say the execution was bad.
Hmm.
Because if she wanted to, she could have been really brutal with her kills. But my my brother Pepe, he was watching me play that game, and he's all like, "Why don't you just play Uncharted 4?" I'm like, "All right," because
Yeah.
he was looking at me like doing like a stealth portion of the game,
Hmm.
and he's all like, "No, you just press a button. It's already like it's it's like a pre. It's like you go into like a little cutscene to do this execution and stuff, right? Whereas in Uncharted, it's smooth. There is no execute. There is no like cutscene or
Yeah.
little
Yeah. Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that it cuts into. You know, it's already smooth. It's very quick. Boom. So you know, it makes me wonder like why didn't they do that? But I guess they try to be different and whatnot.
Yeah. No,
But those
I felt the
are
same way.
reboots.
I felt
Yeah.
the same way when I was playing the beginning of Rise. Um, when I was playing, because when I was playing that, I was playing the Uncharted trilogy around the same time,
Hmm.
and yeah, just playing Rise, I felt like there were some motions in that game where I was like, this feels worse than the old Uncharted games, you
Yeah.
know, and it sucks to compare, but you know, because their franchises are so similar to each other, you know, I think that really hurts Crystal Dynamics' take on Tomb Raider.
Yeah. You know, just Indiana Jones source material and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
I'm
Julian,
planning to get back into those games though.
What's up?
you
What's up, Adam?
I do have a question. Do you consider Resident Evil, just the first one, not even 2 and 3, because we can get into that later, but the first one when it was rebooted for the GameCube,
Hmm.
that's a
Do I
reboot,
consider
right?
that a reboot? That's
Yeah.
a remake. That's a
Gotcha.
remake.
Okay.
Because we had the original PlayStation ones and whatnot,
hmm
and
And then the director's cut. Yeah.
and then director's cut, which the director's cut has a funny ass soundtrack. If you
Oh,
have the
boy,
time.
Oh,
does
dude,
it.
it's so good.
It's
so
it's
good.
fucking funny. It's funny, but it makes it like a whimsical horror movie, and like that kind of defeats its purpose. But yeah, that's a remake, and what was I saying?
So
Tomb Raider, right?
yeah. If we can consider it a reboot, I really enjoy the Planet of the Apes trilogy, right? The latest one.
Oh yes, those are very I like how it really feels like an origin story, but it is a reboot though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's the gray I'm in. Because I'm thinking like, well, doesn't like War for Planet of the Apes, like when that ends, you're supposed to assume, okay, let's go back to the old material, right? But if we're talking Planet of the Apes, then I guess you could talk about Mark Wahlberg's Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah, that's yeah,
a
because we
reboot.
got to go to the 70s and whatnot. Which Adam, by the way, I don't know if you know, but there's a crossover with Star Trek and Planet of the Apes.
Mhm.
Do you know that? Did you know that?
Dude, no way.
Yeah. Danny, you knew this, right?
Yeah, it was like a 6-issue run, I think.
Yeah,
from,
comics. I don't know what it was, but it's a comic thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was IDW that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So look
I've been
into
meaning to get
that.
into that one.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna check this
Yeah,
one out.
because I know you and
Star Trek.
our buddy loves Star Trek right now, and our other buddy.
Well, speaking of
But,
Planet of the Apes crossovers, man, I still want to read the one with King Kong.
With King Kong, hell yeah.
hmm
What?
Monkey. No, I'm just kidding. La Monk.
Yeah, I did not like. Well, it's not even a reboot because it's technically the 5th movie. Tom Cruise's The Mummy.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't finish watching that one.
I need to watch it. I really want to know how the MonsterVerse fucked up or the Universal horror movie MonsterVerse, because Dracula Untold looked really promising. I really enjoyed that movie
Yeah,
You know.
I enjoy that movie too.
because I'm a sucker for vampires, man. Anything vampires, dude, I'm a sucker for it. Good or bad, I love it.
hmm
No, I really enjoyed that movie too, Julian, and I think the ending was like,
Bro,
It-
it's
it
so
gave-
Castlevania, man. Shit.
dude, it was so. I was like, oh man, come on, just give me some more, just a little bit.
No, yeah, I totally agree. But I really want to watch because isn't The Invisible Man, the movie that came out recently, isn't that one also part of like what was supposed to be?
Yeah, it was supposed to be with Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
I see, but he got into all the
He got into the Amber
drama
Heard
that he
stuff.
got into.
hmm
Anyways, but yeah, that sucks because I mean, like, we could have gotten like another Wolfman movie, another Frankenstein movie, hell, another swamp monster movie.
hmm
But I mean, that's just in Shape of Water at that point. But
I
yeah.
love that movie.
I haven't watched it yet, but I mean, I know
Dude.
what the monster is. I know it's Guillermo del Toro. I know, I love Pan's Labyrinth. So
Yeah, that's a movie I got to get back in. Yeah,
Dude, it's so. Oh my god,
dude,
man.
I forgot
That movie's
Tarzan had a
beautiful.
crossover with Planet of the Apes.
Oh
now
my
that
goodness.
sounds awesome. Danny, did you know? Speaking of Tarzan crossovers, did you know there was a crossover of Tarzan and Predator? Did you know that?
What?
Yes, I am not shitting you, Danny. Look that shit up right now. Look it up.
Oh,
Look, I'll even pull it up. I'll even pull it up on my fucking. Dude, we got hard Turok vibes, dude. We just need our Turok, Danny. We need our Turok versus Predator versus Alien, man. Come on, let's go. Let's do this.
Fuck, man.
I'm serious. It was a short run though. It was a really short run of stuff it was like we're talking like 90s.
You said
Early-
Tarzan and Predator, right?
Yeah, Tarzan versus Predator. This is like early Dark Horse stuff. Seems like it because it has
Oh,
the
that
old
sounds
logo.
like early Dark Horse stuff. I still need to
Yeah.
read it, but I have. Oh yeah, it's right here, 1996. Yeah.
Yep. 90s, buddy. Hell yeah.
Adding this to the list. I still need to read that it was Alien, Predator, The Darkness, and Witchblade. They had a
Hell yeah.
3-issue crossover. Yeah.
But yeah, this happened, Danny, and I want to find them and I want to read them.
Man, Turok just needs to come back in the comic scene.
Yes, Danny, I agree.
Because he had a crossover with Shadow Man that I checked out. That was pretty cool.
Sweet. Shadow Man, nice.
But I think that was like the only big crossover, except for the one where it was which one was it? The 2017 run, I think, or 18 run, where it's like it ended with all the Turoks, like all the Turoks were together. Yeah, I just need to bring my boy back, please.
Yes.
Oh, there's a new chapter for that. But yeah, overall, thanks for the question, Mark. Good stuff.
Yes.
I think as long as reboots can make stuff interesting and is careful with the source material, it's fine.
10 out of 10 agree.
Yeah, because there's one I really don't like, and it's the 2016 Ghostbuster movie.
Oh God! All right, next thing, Danny. All right,
Yeah, next thing. Yeah, let's just get out of there.
Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna have to cut you off there.
I'm gonna stop you there. You're posting cringe.
Wow, this was extreme cringe. Anyways, let's get into it, Danny.
So thank you again. That's unversepodcast@gmail.com if you want to send some questions over. We'd love to talk about it. So let's get into some of this news. There's not a whole lot going on because, it's just been slow. At least stuff that's interesting. We missed it. I think it was last week, but Nier's getting a bunch of new content coming out, right? There's Nier Replicants coming to PS4. As a HD remaster. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, man. And it's also getting there's gonna be a mobile game called Nier. What is it called? Nier Reincarnation, I think.
Ooh.
Is that what it's called?
Rainier? I'm just kidding.
What's this mobile game called? Yeah, Nier Reincarnation. Yeah, it's a new game for the mobile, so that's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm excited for those remakes or remasters.
Yeah, I definitely want to grab up the old Nier up, and just play that out. And it's a specific edition to where you're playing. You're not playing as the father, but you're playing as the brother for the story, because there's two versions for that game. Yeah. And speaking of remasters coming in, Saints Row 3 to surprise is coming May 22nd for next gen.
Nice. Saints Row 3.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice with all the new textures and lighting that they're throwing in the game. But the catch is it's going to be locked at 30 frames, and a lot of people aren't too happy about that. But I think it should be okay. Hopefully,
that's fine. I mean, if people still love Bloodborne and that shit runs at 30 frames, then
man, I love Bloodborne.
Yeah,
dude,
I just
Bloodborne's
found that the
easy.
other day. I was like, man, do I really want to go back into this right now?
Lord forgive me. I'm just kidding.
I will say though, for Saints Row, from what I remember playing that on the PS3, there were definitely moments where the frame drop really took a shit.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not gonna happen with the stronger generation here. Yeah, but that's cool. I'm depending on the price. Like if it's like $30, I'll cop it.
Yeah. But
I don't think it should be a full price game.
yeah, it definitely shouldn't.
No, I think at the most it'll probably be 40, which I mean I might be okay with, but I'll just wait for it to go on sale at that point because
Oh yeah.
I'm in no rush to get it if that's the case.
Yeah. It'll most likely be the case, but
And speaking on waiting on stuff, right? Here we are. It is April, coming up real soon. But the final DLC is coming to DOA 6, along with a final update for that game. And That's pretty it's pretty sad if you think about it, because that game's not even 2 years old yet, and we're already and Koei Tecmo's already done with this game.
Look, man, they shot themselves in the foot. I think they did.
Yeah. I mean, there's I haven't touched it in a long time, but there is some cool stuff in there. But they had a lot of problems with the game. Like one of them was at launch. If you want to unlock costumes, you have to play online, or I think it was the arcade or something. But then you have to get these points so you could buy the material to unlock the costume. And initially, it was only for the character you were playing as.
Bro.
Oh no! It was only it was random at first, and that's upsetting because I want it for this specific character. It makes sense if I should play it. Then eventually they fixed it, I think a month later in a patch. And then the latest biggest upset was with the whole hair dye thing going on, to where it was $1 per character to change their hair color.
Ugh.
And if you wanted to revert back to the original, you would have to purchase that again. And I just don't know how that got the okay, before they shipped that out. But they did fix that to where I think if you unlock the hair dye for a character, it'll be all the colors for $1, I think is what they did. Which is still like, it could be an unlockable, but that I guess it's DOA, so you're spending money on that thing.
I mean, I think with hair color, personally, I think all cosmetics should be unlockable.
Mm-hmm.
Keep playing the game; it'll be unlockable, right? But I mean, at least if they're gonna go with the you gotta pay, give me some money route, at least not make the hair. Don't make me buy the hair,
Yeah.
I get it, make me pay for costumes. That makes sense because you did it for the last game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just so unfortunate that it's going down. The game had potential to be fixed, and some garner more people in. But I don't know what they're thinking at Tecmo Koei. I really just think they should just fixed it, and a lot of things would have been better. But
yeah, because if you remember when they were showing this game off, it was all like implying like, oh yeah, we're changing, we're being more serious with this as far as like an FGC perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's what really messed them up to be like that. That way they can get accepted into it. Which, I mean, dude.
I mean, I was all for it, right? There was the official tournaments and all that. Well, the core value thing was the whole Evo stuff, yeah, which was just like, come on, like at the end of the day, it's still DOA when it came out.
Oh yeah.
But the problem with it being DOA and them wanting to get into like serious competitive FGC stuff is the season passes were still $90 coming out with like 30 costumes, one DLC character.
Come on, like this much costumes for how much?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not the only game that has a problem with costumes, right? Like Street Fighter V is another example, but at least I think for the most part you could spend fight money to get majority of those costumes.
Yes, you can.
You play it on lock,
Yeah, where in DOA 6 it's like, no, you have to buy them. Oh, and DOA 5 as well. Yeah. But yeah, so the final DLC season pass number 4, I think it is. It's gonna be, I think it was $80, which is still ridiculous. No character tied to that as well, so that sucks too. I think what they really missed out on is they should have just had a fighter season pass for their DLC characters instead of having it bundled up with all the costumes.
Yep.
Because we only got what it was. Was my was DLC, right? For 6, and then it was oh god, what's her name from KOF? The ice chick.
Oh, Kula.
Yeah, Kula, and then I think it was I know that Akido fighter that joined recently. But
you mean from the DLA Extreme?
Yeah, she came into the game.
Yeah.
But
They should have picked it. They should have picked a different one, but I mean, I'll accept it.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. But that was it, right? For DLC characters? Oh, Momoji.
As far as
That's right.
yeah,
Momoji.
so
and,
like it's Momoji's a. How come she was free in the like in last round? Like how she's free there, and why do I have to pay for her again? I don't get it. It was so weird to me.
Oh, and
but
Rachel as well was a DLC character. Yeah.
again, I have to pay for someone who was free before.
So that was 5 characters. Well, you know what's weird too is Mai was DLC for DOA 5, and then she's DLC again for 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the effort, some of the effort for DOA 6, but it just wasn't good enough for pretty much everybody. You know, like I've heard some talk, see some people say like, you know what, DOA 5, I'd rather go back to that. That's a better game.
Yeah.
Which is it always sucks to say, right? Like
Right.
like with Street Fighter, right? A lot of people like 4 over 5.
Yeah.
Dude. I still haven't played it with Seth in there, man. But you know what, dude? It's weird because when 4 came out, the community was divided. They're like, "Well, we want Third Strike. We don't want 4." And at the end of 4, and then 5 came out, they're like, "Well, we don't want 5. We want 4." It's like, dude, just make up your fucking mind, man. Just pick. Just enjoy the Street Fighter games for what they're worth. I mean, we all know the best one is Third Strike, hands down. But 4 was great. It was phenomenal at the end of its life. I mean, it's still really, really good. I mean, I still go back and I play it.
Yeah.
But
People still do
5,
sometimes.
but 5, there's a lot of
Mixed
problems
bag.
with 5. Yeah.
Mixed bag
it's-
for sure. Yeah.
I love the character designs, no doubt. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So-
definitely. Definitely.
Man, those DMC4 costumes in Street Fighter 5 are great.
Oh yes.
All right, so I don't know if you guys want to pull this trailer up because I don't know if you've seen it, but there was that announcement trailer for a new game called Mortal Shell. Have you guys checked this out
Oh, yes.
You mean that
Akil
Dark
sent that
Souls
to
game?
me.
yet? Yeah.
Dude, it's what did I say? It seems like a very more serious Dark Souls, like a darker Dark Souls, if that makes sense.
A darker Dark Souls, yeah.
But it looks cool. I saw the trailer too. I'm always a sucker for those games because they're just so fun in any shape or form, except Lords of the Fallen. That was boring.
Oof, yeah.
But no, yeah, that's all I could really say about it until further notice.
Is that a next gen
darker
game?
Dark Souls. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
but
positive.
I think they said for sure it's going to be PS4.
Maybe cross-platform.
Yeah,
Probably.
cross-gen thing going on. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I like the enemies, like the bosses that they showed off in the trailer. Like,
Oh, yeah.
man.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm definitely excited for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. We all got to hop on that.
Oh hell yeah! If it's multiplayer and anything, dude, hell yeah.
Mhm.
I'm always just a sucker for like medieval shit, anyways, too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. That's why I liked For Honor a lot when that was first coming out. But speaking of Souls-like games, I've been, playing more Neo 2 as usual. And have you gotten far into that game yet, Julian?
I have not, to be honest with you, because then I stopped playing to play Doom Eternal. I beat Doom Eternal, and then I borrowed Resident Evil 3 from a friend of mine, which I beat as well, and now I'm playing Prototype 1. So I'm really bad at going back to games, which I should. I really should. I know Final Fantasy my copy of Final Fantasy comes out on Tuesday, according to Amazon. So I really should hop back onto Nio. I really should, especially with all this time that we have free about it. I really should.
So I'm in the third area for this game, and I still like it's still Neo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still having a good time with it, but I was thinking about it today too. I was like, you know what? I think I like the first game more than this one because I'm starting to get bored of the game. I'm
Oh,
interested in like the story and like reading like the information about the yokai and all that, but the boss fights have gotten stale, I think. The boss fights look like the bosses look interesting, as always, but when you fight them, it doesn't feel like a challenge. Like going back to Neo 1, thinking about like all those crazy bosses and all their wild, unique attacks, it was really challenging. And here it's like, it definitely feels easier is what I always think of after I defeat these bosses. Because I haven't really, I've been killing them for like just once, not dying from them too often. Except right now I'm doing the side mission against the samurai, and you know how those missions are,
yeah.
like so ridiculous. So I'm dying a lot right there, but like all the yokai boss fights, I'm not really dying a lot, which is pretty like disappointing. Like I entered with this one mission that was, I'm like, okay, cool. I like the area layout. It's all really interesting. And then they added a new mechanic in this area, in this yokai realm, and I was like, yo, this is really cool. But it turns
Oh
out,
shit, really? Okay.
but it turns out it was part of build up to the boss fight later down the line. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what's going on with it. But the moves that it had were so easy to read and pretty boring. And I was just like, oh, this is not an enjoyable boss fight. Like everything else in this mission was great until I got to the boss fight. So that's where I'm at right now in this game. Everything is still pretty great. It's just getting stale combat wise, which is sad to say for this game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'm
Says
still
a lot,
gonna
Danny.
complete
Oh yeah,
it.
of course. Me
Still
too.
gonna get the
Me too.
play the season pass,
Yeah.
but
Play season pass,
yeah, because like there was like this really, I thought it was a new, like there was two bosses in a row that I fought in this third area, Julian, where I was like, oh, is this a new enemy type that we just have to fight that are walking around? And like, oh no, it turns out these are the bosses. And I
Oh,
was
really?
like, oh, and I think that's where the problem lies, right? Because I thought like, oh, this is just a new thing that I just gonna just see all over the place, but then you get to the boss fight and like, oh, that was the boss, and then you defeat it pretty easily, and you're like, oh, that was the boss, huh? Yeah, so I'm still, I'm still enjoying it as always. It's I love Neo.
Yeah.
They're doing great stuff with it, but yeah,
Let's see. Let's hope the season pass changes it up. Changes it up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Changes it up a little. Which I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll give us that difficulty spike like it did in the first time around.
Yeah. The season pass was great for Neo 1, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, but hey, you brought it up earlier, Julian. You beat Doom Eternal, man. How was that?
Yes, I did. Doom Eternal is a really good game. Trust me, throughout and throughout, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, it's so fun. Probably the best first-person shooters, both 2016 and Eternal. Honestly, man, like, I don't even like other first-person shooters besides Halo anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty. But this game is great. The boss battles are pretty sweet. It's just I played it on hard. I didn't play it on normal. I played it on hard too from the get-go. And yeah, the game is very difficult. I'm not gonna go out of my way and say this is the Dark Souls of first-person shooters. Hell no. But this game is really fun. It's difficult. It really just throws everything at you. Every time you enter an arena, it just throws everything at you. Like, there's no holding back. But yeah. I guess my only gripes that I've had with the game is the final boss. Now, I'm not going to say what the final boss is in context, but with I'm sure it's done this in Doom 2016 as well, where you're fighting a boss, but there's also enemies at the same time. Well, in this final boss, it is the final boss, but they literally throw every enemy type at you, every enemy type. Whereas previously they would throw some enemy types here and there, but here they throw everything that has already been thrown at you throughout the game all at once here. All the while trying to kill the boss. So yeah. But other than that, I highly recommend people go out, give this game a purchase if you really like the 2016 one. I have not tried that multiplayer mode yet, which I should when I get it back. I let a friend borrow it. But yeah, highly recommend it. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's the
negative point
2v1,
goes,
right?
Yeah. Say again?
The 2v1 for multiplayer?
Yeah, the 2v1. Yeah, I haven't played it yet. But the customization options are pretty cool. Yeah, the game is just really fun. I would totally replay it again. Hands down. Also, I gotta mention, a lot of people had complaints over the platforming. It was alright. It wasn't the worst in the world. It just took a bit to figure out. That's about it. Just some thinking. And there's some water segments with water swimming and whatnot. Those weren't that bad either for me. Again, it was just a bit of figuring out, which I eventually did, and I got through pretty quickly. But yeah, it's a great game.
Cool, man. Yeah, I still need to get into the Doom series, but
Rip and tear.
yeah,
I can let you borrow the first one, Danny, if you want to.
Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna need to, because just seeing, I've been seeing some footage for Doom Eternal. I'm like, God, it's just so intense. It's what I need. It's what I need right now.
It gives you, when you're in the arena battles, it just gives you that flowy adrenaline feel. Like you have to keep moving in that game, or you will die. You will die, guaranteed. If you stand still or like stay in one little spot, you will die. So you have to keep moving around the area. It gives me very angry adrenaline feelings, just like if I was actually Doom guy.
Hell yeah. Adam, I forget, did you already start playing P5 Royal?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, how's that going on?
Persona.
Dude, you know what, man? There's a lot of little things that are new that I really like. Like, well, first off, you get to use the grappling hook finally. So, I mean, we kind of got a glimpse of that just in few scenes in the base P5 and also in Smash. So that's nice to actually use. There's another couple little things inside the palaces that you get to have. One thing I will say I enjoy a lot is like the fleshing out of each character now. It's like you get some more dialogue when you're building up your relationship with them, and they actually have like different animations. And dude, the outfits in this game, oh my god, it's great. It's great. No, it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm maybe like 15% of the way done already, just because this game takes forever, and I'm really just taking my time with it. But it's good. I was very happy for it. I'm eager to see what the rest of the changes are, gearing more towards the end of the game, because that's really what I'm looking forward to.
Still need to play those games.
Dude, they're long. They're long, man. I mean, honestly, the one thing I'm really waiting for, which I'm not gonna do until I actually beat the game, is there's a DLC for it where you get to fight the protagonist of 4 and 3.
Whoa.
So I'm just waiting so I don't get super bodied, because when they were released in Japan, when the game came out, I saw screen caps, and man, dude, this guy, like, both of them will just body you till the end of tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. It's like a challenge boss mode, I guess.
Yeah, so it's one of those newer modes that they added into the game where you can fight, specific bosses, and those are the ones that they really premiered. I don't know if there's going to be any more DLC. I'd be okay with it if there isn't, because I mean the game already is like 90 hours long,
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be okay with no additional DLC. I don't even know what they would do if they did end up doing some more, but it's good. I'm okay with it. I will say that the mask that I got the Thieves Edition with, man, this shit is nice. Instant cosplay done.
Yeah, well, yeah. Always
Gonna
about
get
them
some.
new cosplays, you know.
I did exactly, man.
Hell
So I'm
yeah.
talking. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
These cons ain't ready, man.
They ain't ready when we can go back.
So yeah, man. Last main episode, I think we talked about the Nintendo Direct that came out of nowhere, and they talked about ARMS getting that final update, and them joining Smash. But what I didn't know was that they dropped a free trial for ARMS after the
Yep.
Direct. So I hopped on, finally got my hands on it, and I gotta say it was pretty fun.
It's a really good game. I really enjoyed it. I never personally bought it, but it's definitely on my list. Like if Nintendo ever puts an actual sale on their games, that's one I would definitely buy.
Yeah, for sure, man. I thought it was pretty unique, and then even like the different game modes that you had to do, I thought were fun, and I can understand why it's not as popular as you would think, because I only thought it was just like, oh, it's one of those fighting games, but then playing it's like, oh no, it's like a party fighting game. Okay,
hmm
and then plus the angle of the camera and like the way you move around, I could see where the lack of popularity comes in. But no, man, it was pretty fun. Like once I started getting understanding the mechanics of how to fight, it was just like getting into it. Pretty great stuff. It definitely made me more hyped for the DLC character for Smash.
I'm just eager to see who it's going to be and how they're going to play as. I think I said in the chat maybe like last week or some time ago, watch this Arms character have a forward smash that's going to kill you at like 30%, just like Byleth.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Lame.
And then after seeing the characters, right? Because I went through the roster just to see what we can get a look at, and I was like, man, this game's pretty fun. You know, it has a lot of unique looking characters and I'm like, oh, this fits perfectly with the whole spring arms thing. And you brought it up, Adam, but I'm pretty sure if anything, we might just get the Bowser Jr. treatment with this character,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just going to be skins, which
Mhm.
I mean, I'll be okay, but I'd rather have Twinlet, you know, as the choice, as we
Oh,
said.
my guy, you speaking my
Oh,
language.
here. Oh man.
No, yeah, I feel like as much as I would want the character to also come with an echo, just because, like you said, there's so many different variants. Like every character in ARMS has so much more that they can do than the other one. I think the Bowser Jr. treatment is probably what we're gonna get, or we might see the hero treatment. You know, where we'll get like 4 different skins and then just 2 alternates of each one, which I'd also be okay with, but I don't know. That's just me. But they have a lot to choose from in there. I hope they really make this Arms character like extremely wacky.
Just like the game.
Exactly.
So I was thinking about it, and you know, it uses like, oh, the Joy Cons is a mechanic in arms, right? So where like you could curve your punches, right? Since they're based off of spring attacks. That had me thinking about how the Smash characters would be, and I'm thinking it might be similar to Simon
And Richter.
and Richter, yeah, because how you could slightly move the chain
Yeah.
when you attack, so they might do that with the arms character here, so that'll be interesting.
I could see that.
Do that, yeah. Like you throw the punch and you could curve it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Maybe they could throw in like you know how they could have like different arms. Maybe those would be like B side B's,
Yeah,
B's, and
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking too.
That'd be
Because you
cool.
could get really intricate with the attacks, because there was 3 different fist types for all the arms characters, and they all did different things. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking too. Like, yeah, if we do a neutral B thing, that would be pretty cool.
Comes out in June. It's another month
Yeah,
and a
man,
half.
that's gonna be cool. It just honestly made me more hyped to see what they're gonna do with this character.
Hell
It
yeah,
should.
Game
It's got to be really strong, man, because it's gonna be the first character of this next DLC pack. So
Hmm.
we shall see.
Yeah, man. And going further along the list, if we all remember, right, E3 got canceled this year. They confirmed for next year it's going to happen for sure. But for this year, there was no plans to do an all digital event for E3 like people were suggesting, right? Like State of Play, Nintendo Direct stuff. Microsoft came out and said that they're planning to do one. But Bethesda decided they're not going to do a digital showcase either, which I guess is all right. You know, people just, I mean, it's Bethesda at this point now, which is kind of sad to say, but, you know.
Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very sad to say.
Yeah, man, because if you remember from last year's shit show.
Yeah.
And the year before that, yeah.
I just hope they don't mess up Skyrim. Skyrim 6. I hope they don't mess it up.
Skyrim 6,
Hey,
yeah.
I know, right?
Oh, man. So let's get into this big piece right here. Out of nowhere, on Twitter, Sony decided to drop the PS5 controller. And no, it's not DualShock 5. It is the DualSense.
Sense my PP.
It's the DualSense. Look, I don't know if is it gonna come with gimmicks, Danny? Or I mean, as long as
Yes.
it looks, they're gonna have color variants for sure. You want to know why? Because the DualShock 4s have a bunch of color variants. So I'm gonna put a high. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so for me personally, I'm not a fan of this controller design. It just, you know, one thing I like about PlayStation is that like the consistency that they kind of have going on, right, with all their generations, and one of them it was the DualShock. You know, just the way it looked, the way it felt when you hold it in your hand. Like it's like a legacy type of thing, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool to see. And by changing the name to DualSense and just like, oh, so the DualShock's just gone now, you know, kind of bums me out.
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, they still have the word dual in it, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I just I don't know, because like it's just I don't like the two color variation on it. I guess is what bothers me on one hand. And for me, you know, I'm more of like I'm a traditional guy at the end of the day, and the fact that like the face buttons aren't colored, you know, kind of bums me out. And even the PlayStation button in the center, like the fact that it's just the logo and not a button, I can see problems with that.
I can see Cheetos getting in there real fast.
Yeah, man.
That control's gonna be orange real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I do think as well, Julian, that we're gonna see some color variations. But by them revealing that this white and black one, this is gonna be the default controller.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it kind of has me a little worried of what PS5 is gonna look like.
Yeah.
And I don't have a definitive idea of what I want it to look like, but if it's going to be like the same concept as this, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that.
Well,
Look, all I'm saying is my room gets dusty. And I don't want my white PS5 turning into a gray PS5 when it's not supposed to look like that.
I think it will, at least for the look of the PS5. You gotta just think about how the PlayStations have looked over time.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about all of them. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna look like that fucking whatever that spaceship that I keep seeing the image of.
Oh, the death
I'm
shit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not gonna look like that. 100%. That's too fucking ugly. It looks like a spaceship. Come on. But now you got to think about how the PS3, the PlayStations have looked like. They've always looked simple and slick. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They've
Yeah.
always been either a rectangle shape. It's a square diameter of a shape.
Hmm.
You know, it has the four corners. It's never been anything more. Obviously, that's every console. Um, but I think because the DualSense controller kind of looks clean to me. It's just a little off. That kind of looks like a little different. Say like it doesn't. This does not look like a PlayStation controller a little bit.
Yeah, that's the
You
thing
know what I
too.
mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, we went. If you take a look at the, I mean, at least it's not that prototype PS3 controller.
Oh,
If
the
you remember that.
boomerang.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. At least it's not that. But I don't know. I think Sony won't make it look too ugly. I mean, there is worry. I have some worry too. Who knows?
Hmm.
I'm worried that they'll actually stick with that fucking spaceship design. No, I doubt it. But
I already got one microwave in my house. I don't need a second one.
yeah, right. But I think that system will look good, and also come in color variants too, which I'm pretty sure it will be. Collector's
Look.
editions and whatnot.
Also, all I'm saying is, if it ends up looking like that, I've got a lot of stickers.
Yep.
I got a box.
I got a box.
So that shit in a box, stab some holes in that thing so it could breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into some of these new features coming into the controller. The main reason why it's called DualSense is because it now has haptic feedback in the controller, and basically what that means is it's supposed to help you get more immersed into the games you play by doing subtle like vibrations instead of just one type of vibration that you'll feel in like the DualShock 4, for example. This will do it in very different ways, just to make it help you feel more immersed, which is a consistent thing that PlayStation does. Like they want you to be immersive in their first party games. So that's the biggest thing for it, and that's why it's called DualSense. Which the name, I'm not a big fan of the name, honestly. DualSense is just, it doesn't come off the tongue as well as DualShock, I think. But other than that, they added a built-in microphone to the controller, which somebody brought it up. Like the biggest problem for that is like, oh man, all these kids playing Fortnite, all these like multiplayer games, they're just going to be using that.
Yeah, they're gonna sound like they're in a tunnel. Or, and okay, so here's a good thing that I just thought of. If it's in the controller, what about people like me who like to sometimes just button mash while playing Street Fighter or any kind of fighters? Like, if people are using just the regular controller, how is that gonna reflect onto the mic? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I know microphones have gotten better over the years as technology gets better, but yeah, I don't know how good this thing is even going to sound. And somebody pointed out like, oh, it's just for a quick thing. Like you get sent an invite to the party chat, you just click on that real quick and be like, hey, yeah, hold on, let me do this, and that. Like stuff that's really fast is cool, I guess. And then unless they start doing games that involve a microphone, kind of like how like the DS did, back in the day.
Yeah.
I could see something like that too. Which, before I've talked about like, are we even gonna see next new gen gimmick games? Now we might with this DualSense controller.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Then instead of the share button, I think it's called the community button now. Which I think for the most part it still does the same thing as the share button, but has like a few extra features. And then I think the trigger buttons are better built this time around. And other than that, one thing I do like about the controller is where they put the light bar now, where it's surrounding the touchpad, which I thought is pretty cool. Yeah. But I think that's it. There is a jack plug-in in there as well, so you can just plug in your headphones like usual.
Nice,
That
good.
they kept on there. Oh, it's a UBC charger,
Huh?
or a USB-C charger now.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, that's what everything is using now, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're not a fan of the controller like I am, don't worry, you don't have to use it for PS5 because they did confirm a while back that you can use DualShock 4s on PS5s.
Heck yeah,
Nice.
I can use my Kingdom Hearts controller on there.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'll definitely help the bank because I think somebody brought up like, yeah, with all these new features, we might be seeing a price jump for the controller.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Of course. They're gonna be $90 now.
Oh god, I hope not. I was thinking 70. I hope not 90. That's
They're gonna be pulling that Joy-Con.
oh my
Bullshit.
god. How are
Oh my
Joy-Cons? Why are Joy-Cons $80?
Dude, it's crazy.
It's Nintendo, man. You're still gonna buy it though, right? Yeah.
That's why they made the left stick drift after so long. They're like, oh, you can recalibrate it all day long, but no, you're gonna need.
I'm sorry, it's not called the community button. It's called the create button now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the controller. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Until I get it in my hands and get the feel for it,
Yeah.
I'm
More like
just
a
checking out.
hands-on experience.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. Like when I got my PS4, right, using the controller, I didn't feel a huge difference. But then when I went back to the PS3 and grabbed the DualShock 3, and it's like, oh man, it's like almost night and day on those controllers,
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that'll happen here. We'll see. I'll give it the fair chance. It'll get. But I do hope we can get an all black version of the controller.
Yeah, dude, let me get my night mode.
Yeah. Oh man, so when it came, I don't know if you people on listening, if you are on the Twitter or not, but when like I was scrolling through Twitter and it just dropped like 3 minutes ago, it said, and I was like, oh damn, reading the comments and stuff, and then I went to the trending tab, and then what does trending tab say? Xbox controller, and I was like, oof, man, that's gonna hit. And I don't know if you like. They're doing mock-ups, right? Fan mock-ups for their controllers, which some of them do look nice. But I think my favorite mock-up somebody did was they just kept the base of the controller and they swapped out all the buttons with like one of these like ages 3 and up controllers, with like a smiley face on it.
Wow.
It cracked me up so much, man. I was like, this is perfect.
No, I do like the mock-ups though. There are some of them that are super fresh. Those Kingdom Hearts one I always see. There was a really cool God of War one that I saw.
Oh, dude, I think I know which one you're talking about.
It had like the axe on one side and then something else on the other. Oh man, I was like, yo, dude, I would get that. Heartbeat. Take my money.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what my main problem is? Like, I do just see like the Xbox controller like design on this is just the way like the top of the controller curves. I'm like, that's not how a PlayStation controller looks, man.
That's not how it looks, man.
So other than that, yeah, we'll just wait for that to drop with the console, which we didn't talk about it, but yeah, Last of Us 2 got delayed. I think indefinitely, right?
Yes. I don't remember seeing an actual date for it though. But yeah, it's because what was the reason? Hold on, I can.
It was because of COVID,
okay,
no?
so
yeah,
okay,
it was because of the virus. Go
so
ahead,
it got pushed back to September initially, and then all this quarantine stuff happened, and then they decided to just delay it indefinitely, along with Iron Man VR, because that's also a PlayStation exclusive. So I guess they figured like we should do that too for that thing, because I guess they're expecting good numbers for it. So yeah, it got pulled back, and the director for Last of Us 2 came out and said a quote which sounds totally related to what's going on with the whole COVID situation, but basically to paraphrase what he said, is it's frustrating to see it get pulled back because he just wants people to enjoy the game, which makes me think like it was almost done. Like they almost went gold with this game. And Sony's reasoning for pulling it back was because they want everybody to be able to grab this game. And when I mean everybody, I mean people who buy physical and digital, right? They want everybody to be able to grab any version at the same time. So that's why they pulled it back. And by doing so, they refunded everybody on PSN automatically. So if you pre-ordered it on your PSN account, you already got refunded for the game.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that to me that was the surprise for me, because then I'm like, oh, if they're doing this, like this is a really big decision.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys think this too, but that makes me think that PS5 is going to get delayed as well.
Ooh. That's big.
Because it was slated for what, holiday, right?
Yeah, holiday this year, which I'm assuming would be November time, maybe end of October. And
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the reason I think it's getting delayed, right, is because of The Last of Us 2 decision, right? So, The Last of Us 2 was going to be the last big first party game to come out for PS4, right? Like, let's hit this final home run before we move on to the next generation. PS3 did that with Last of Us, right? That was kind of like the last big IP that Sony had that they wanted to put out. And this makes sense on a marketing perspective, right? Because when they delayed the game initially from May to September, that still gave us 2 to 3 months window for getting them the maximum output of sale numbers for The Last of Us 2 on PS4, right? Because if it was going to come out around PS5 time, there could be a chance people weren't going to buy it because they want to buy the PS5. Right, so in a marketing perspective, I think they want to get the maximum output for this game before they do a PS5 version of the game, which would have probably came along in February or March, just like how Last of Us Remastered came out for PS4. So with this decision of it being delayed indefinitely, I think the reason being is because they're trying to figure out whether or not they're going to delay PS5. So we'll see, man, because I think it was like 2.5 weeks ago when they mentioned like, oh yeah, we're not planning on delaying PlayStation, but then after that is when they said Last of Us being delayed indefinitely. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they say coming up in the next maybe 2 months, hopefully.
And it all depends on what's going on, really. Everything too. You know? Yeah. I mean, Last of Us, I think the main reason it got pulled is not just for PS5 but also the COVID situation. Yeah.
COVID has taken my cons. It's taking my games. I'm about to body
it's taking
COVID.
too much.
It's taking too much, man.
Yeah,
taking my
man,
toilet paper.
It's really a wild time right now.
It truly is. I can't wait to live through this and just be able to say that I lived through it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just real quick, I saw Onward finally. That dropped on Disney Plus.
Yes, it did. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's the Chris Pratt, Tom Holland movie, and I had a great time with it. It was pretty fun.
I thought it was a really good. See, that's the thing about like these Pixar, the Pixar movies.
Mm-hmm.
They just, I feel like they're gonna be underrated. You know, like do you remember Brave? I remember Brave. You know,
I never saw Brave, but yeah, I remember that happened. Yeah, and I remember that they made fun of the movie in Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know what? Contrary to everybody, I like Brave.
Oh, dude, I love Brave.
I thought it was a great time. But I need to see Onward because I did not know that was Pixar.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I kind of lean towards the Disney Pixar movies or Pixar movies when it comes to like my favorite modern ones, because I like Monsters Inc.
Mhm.
I love Ratatouille. I love Brave.
Mhm.
You know,
Toy
So-
Story.
Onward is probably one of my new favorites. Toy Story is good. I love Toy Story.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good time. You can clearly tell that they made the older brother for Jack Black, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes.
like
Have you ever played Brutal Legend?
Yep.
Just like that.
Oh man! All right, I
Yeah.
have to watch that today.
Oh, dude, trust. It's a great time.
Yeah,
Um,
man, it was really fun. The wholesome times were great, and yeah, overall, like it did have me laughing for like. There's not a whole lot of jokes in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
But when they drop these comedic bits, man, they got me every time.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're actually going more in depth over on Marvel Talk with that for that episode. So me and Jake are going to be talking about that movie, and
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great time. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't watched it. It's a really good Disney flick to sit down to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, man. My Hero Academia got season 5 confirmed, which is to be expected. And I was talking to Jake about it because I'm not watching the show, but where season 4 ended has me, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So season 5 will be okay because there is a dip in the series, and I think that's going to suffer in the anime. But I think the opening for season 5 should be solid because it's
So season 4 is already done, Danny.
yeah, it just wrapped up. Yeah,
Finally, I can go watch that fight.
yes, you can. Both
Sweet.
fights actually, because the season finale is a great fight as well with Endeavor.
Yeah, I stopped reading the manga right after that fight because I was like, okay, this is slow. I'm gonna come back to it later.
Oh man, it's a good time to catch up because it's getting pretty good right now in My Hero. Yeah, man.
yeah. I didn't really read or watch My Hero, but yeah.
I think you would like it, Julian.
I think
it's
I would
fun.
too. I think I would too because I enjoy One Punch Man,
hmm
so I think I would like it.
They do share similarities with One Punch Man. They are close together, but yeah, they definitely have different different perspectives on the hero industry. I guess you could say.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yes, yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And speaking of Shonen Jump, I keep forgetting this is a Jump manga, but I said, you know what, fuck it, man. I hopped back into Terraform Mars.
Hell yeah. Is it over yet, or is it still going on?
Okay, so the last time I brought this manga up, I was like, I'm fucking done with this manga. It got so stupid, like I don't even care anymore. And,
My feelings were all over the place for it. What the fuck's
Yeah.
going on, man?
and that was a good while ago, and
It was. I remember. That was like about a year ago, Danny.
yeah, and I forget.
I would say.
I forget what brought it on, but I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna catch back up because I thought it was over already. But I looked into it, and it turns out the mangaka got sick, and it's been on hiatus for a good while. And
Damn.
when I looked at the remaining chapters to be read, I was like, oh, if I would have waited like 2 more months, I would have been caught up already. And yeah, so I just caught up, and I think it suffers from a lot of shonen mangas suffer from is the escalation of pushing forward in a series, right? Because there's definitely some good peaks in Terraform Mars with characters, with fights, how crazy it gets, how unique each fight is. But then once we got to where it is now in the series, it's introducing us to too many characters too fast. We're not getting a lot of character development with them, and we're not seeing our main cast that we've been following for a good while now.
Really?
Yeah, because it's
Wow.
because right now, like the cockroaches are invading Earth, and so
Oh shit! Is this Doom?
yeah. And so now we're seeing a bunch of other people with these powers that were so rare before, but are now pretty much common to the point where there's a black market for you to have the surgery. There's a black market to have this mosaic organ so that way you could transform and all this stuff. And
Keep going, Daddy. Keep going. Keep going.
Right, so we're getting thrown all these characters left and right, and there was actually one really cool character who was he had this genetic disease from his family. Then it's fatal, right? So he's gonna die, but the procedure to get it is too expensive, but it's free if you take on the surgery for the mosaic organ, right? And the reason I say he's interesting is because, as we find out with his background, is he had multiple surgeries of the mosaic organ, so he is a chimera, basically. He has all these different types of animals and insects into him.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy how they explain it. So, because like his body's dying, but if he goes into the critical state of his transformation, right, it's almost to the point of no return to being human again. Like, it's very excruciating, but he gets powerful enough to fight like these ridiculous cockroaches. And if he can come back into his human form, then he's healthy again until this disease comes back. So it's very interesting how they handled that character. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, but there's just like, it's just a lot of stuff that I was like, this is happening way too fast. Like with the advancement of the powers, fusing powers together, and the lack of not showing our main cast, because I think the main cast is great, and the fact that we haven't seen them in a good while is disappointing. So I will say though, it is getting pretty interesting to where it is right now with this whole war on Earth, at least for the most part. So whenever hopefully the manga gets better and they can continue this manga, I'll keep my eye on it. Yeah, but just pissed me off so much at this one chapter, man. And I was like, God damn. And I'm happy to say what pissed me off is not focused on the manga from what I read when I caught up. So I was very happy about that.
Nice.
Yeah. Mangas be wildin', man.
Yeah, mangas sound like they're always wildin', and they are wildin' from reading One Punch Man, dude. So, I think I'm missing out on a lot of things.
I mean, yeah, Jen, I could give you a list of some pretty fantastic mangas to check out that get pretty wild.
Hell yeah, man.
Read Air Gear. You would like it, Julian. There's a lot of BAP going on there, but the story gets really intricate. Like,
okay, yeah. So I forget about the BAPs and more about the
story. Yeah. Just, I mean, you'll see them there. Just don't get distracted too much. But it gets crazy. Like at first, it seems like it's all fun, and then it's like, wait, what the hell? Why is the world about to be destroyed?
But look at these BAPs. Anyways, but yeah. That's good, man. Let's hope he does get better. Speaking of manga, Danny, it was announced that Berserk is getting a new chapter by the end of the month.
Oh my gosh,
that's right.
Finally.
That's right, end of the month, a new chapter's coming.
I can't fucking wait. Guess what? I don't care what people say. I will wait for the rest of my fucking life, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Same here.
It's pretty crazy to think what year Berserk started, right?
Yeah. Like in the 90s, right? Or was it late 80s? Late 80s?
I'm pretty sure it's late 80s. Yeah. Oh, no, excuse me. Man. Oh, yeah, 89 is when it started.
Yep, 89. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So, that's what?
Almost 30 years. I think we went to the 20-year mark. No.
It's 31 years.
Yeah, 31 years, huh? 31 years of Berserk. Wow, guys.
It's so crazy, man. It's just like with Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is like almost like 20. It's like 20-something years old.
God damn, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Hunter x Hunter needs to stop.
It stopped for me.
Yeah, Danny, when I was going through it, you're like, yeah, no, it stops at this point. It should have stopped there. You know what, Danny? When I got to that point, I agree. I was done. I was like, there was no other way for it to end. Like, you could definitely keep going on, but stop it. Make it like a spin-off or something, Like, don't keep it going on with the main story.
Yeah, so check it out, Julian. This is it's pretty wild if you think about it. Because I haven't read a manga that's done this, right? So the main character is gone, right? And, you know, we find out what he wants to do as the protagonist of this series is to become a hunter like his father, so that way he can go out into the world and eventually he'll bump into his father, right?
Yeah.
So he could finally meet him, you know, and all that stuff. And along the way, you know, he makes friends, they do this stuff, and then he gets thrusted into the hunter life by having to fight all these crazy stuff. And the biggest arc, which is like I think the best arc of the series, is like the Chimera arc, right, where he has to fight like these insects, and it's really, really good stuff, like really high quality shonen. And then when we get to the end, you know, everything's pretty much for the most part pretty good. Gon finally meets his father, right? He shows up, and you know they have their moment, and then Gon decides, he's like, all right, well, I did what I wanted to do, so now I'm done being a hunter and I'm going to go back home. And so he leaves, right? Our main character is now gone, but the manga continues to go.
That's weird.
Except now it's his father that we're like,
oh, you're
following
continuing
the
it off
story
with the what?
Yeah, so his father...
That's weird.
His father kind of picked... I mean, I stopped reading it after this certain point, but yeah, it starts focusing on his father now, building a team so they could go into the dark continent of the planet where no one's really traversed. And when I saw this, and I fact-checked it, I'm like, they just ripped off Toriko right now, because Toriko does the same thing. And then it showed off like other characters are doing their own thing, and the art kind of changed a little bit, which you have to get used to. And then like all the hiatuses, and I'm like, you know what? If the main character left, I'm leaving too. So
yeah. The only thing that made me keep reading for a couple more chapters, Danny, was the fact that in that last fight he loses all his powers. That was the only thing. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is acceptable for me at this time. But then I kept reading it, and I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. Like, it's just, as much as I wanted to continue going forward, because it is the same person who did Yu Yu Hakusho, and that's one of my favorites. So it's like, I'll give it a couple more tries. You know, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't even tell you where they are. But I will tell you, you were right. The art gets horrible at a certain point. It's, oh my gosh, looked like just doodles.
yeah, I mean, talking about mangas getting wild, like that's pretty wild for a series to do.
Fuck, that sounds like it's done though. Like, what the heck? It sounds like, from what you guys are telling me, like it's done. But like, okay, this Dark Continent thing, Danny, has it been explored upon in the first series? You know what I mean?
No, it was never brought up until Gon's
this...
father started becoming the main character for the series.
So that's kind of pointless to bring in something brand new in when our main character is done with what he needed to do. But I mean, I guess if you're that invested into the world that the story brings, you know, the universe, then yeah, I guess keep going with it. But
the thing with Hunter x Hunter though is, it's not entirely focused on the worlds. I mean, there's definitely arcs. Like it was the, I forget what it's called, but like they eventually enter a video game. Right?
It was Green Dolphin. Yeah, no, okay, that was a really cool. That was my favorite arc, because they go into a video game and they have to do all these quests. Dude, it was legit. Like,
bro, just like Dragon Quest.
But you find out this video game is actually like they get teleported onto a secluded island, right? So there's some of that interesting stuff, but for the most part, Hunter x Hunter focuses on the uniqueness of their powers that they can have with the Nen, and just the character development. That's pretty much it. So like the world's you're not really paying attention to the world for the most part. They go to cool areas, but you stay invested in those areas because that's where our characters are. Yeah. Like if One Piece did this, I think I might be okay moving away from the Straw Hats, as long as we could explore the world, you know, with likable characters from the series. That might be okay. And that's the thing about Hunter x Hunter. I'm like, why are we going on Gon's dad, who just showed up in the series? Why not check out what Killua was doing and what like all these other characters that we're interested in are doing, you know? But yeah, the anime I heard is a good adaptation, the most recent one. And I know for a fact the anime ends with the Chimera arc, and I'm like, okay, yeah, just watch the anime then, because it ends where this should have ended.
Sounds like Stockholm syndrome. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
dude. But wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Too long don't read, just stop after the ants.
All right. Will do. I want to talk about Resident Evil 3 for a bit, if that's cool. So I beat it twice within 24 hours. It's a good game. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Wait till the price drops. I'm going to tell you right now. I honestly think the length of the game really kind of damages it, kind of like now that I think about it. But I mean, if you're all right with like going through a game over and over again, but that's not many people, right? But for me, I mean, I'm gonna buy this probably like if it's a $50 sale or something, maybe I'll buy it off Walmart, right? But I beat it once when it took me 6 hours. Second time I beat it, 4 hours. But it's a good game. Jill looks nice. Everyone looks really nice in the game. All the characters. What you've heard about it already with the zombies and whatnot, like that's fine and all. What's the biggest gripe that I have? I would say Nemesis. He's kind of like meh. He's
Damn,
cool
really?
looking. He's cool looking. He's really cool. The things he could do and stuff, that's pretty cool and stuff. But like, I wish there was more of him. Is what I'm saying. And yes, I did bum me out how they cut off some of the bosses and whatnot. That did bum me out.
Oh, they did cut out some stuff.
They
I've tried to go into this super blind. Damn, that's
Oh, you
unfortunate.
did? Dang, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Adam. I didn't know that.
No, it's totally fine. Cause Oscar was telling me some stuff while I'm playing through Resident Evil 2, and I'm like, I feel like there was more going on here. But
yeah, so they did that, and I'm like, all right. Honestly, Adam, I like the second 2 remake better than this one.
okay.
I'm gonna tell you right now, but this one is worth giving a shot, though.
I went halves on my brother with 3, so I just don't want to play it till I finish 2, and then I can go into it.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I haven't tried Project Resistance yet. I only tried the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really played like a match with anyone or anything. But I'm gonna try to give that one a shot some more. See if that's worth even the whole package of the pricing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, I would say, fellas, just wait till the price drop. If you're in a rush to play it, then yeah, I say of course, go get it. But at Walmart though, don't get it for $60.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part I heard about this game. And yeah, the main complaint I heard was the length. I haven't touched this series at all, but is the remake same length as the original?
The original, no. The original had so many things that again, these things were cut off. There was choices, Danny, in the game. One of the main characters dies very differently in this remake. Yeah, spoilers, sorry, but yeah, this one just cuts off a lot of things, and I think that really damages it. But I don't know if that's the route they were going with, per se, it being a remake. If they're treating it as they did with RE2, as the same way they cut out some things here and there. But still very enjoyable. I will say.
Cool, man. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, they were making this game as they were wrapping up RE2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So within a year.
Mm-hmm. I heard. I don't know if you want to get spoilers for it, but I heard that they added some things into RE3 that could hint at a possible RE4 remake happening.
I really hope they don't, dude. I really hope they don't. Honestly, they shouldn't, because Resident Evil 4 is already good. It doesn't need. It still holds up. it's still one of my top favorite games of all time. So I don't want, for me personally, I don't want another remake of RE4. I want Resident Evil 8. If that's
Yes.
gonna happen, Resident Evil 8, and then I think Code Veronica should get the remake.
Oh, definitely. Julian, I'm going to continue on with what you said. Resident Evil 4, in my opinion, is my favorite besides the remake of the first Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Like those two are up there for me, And then the original Nemesis game, I fucking loved it. I beat the shit out of it. That's why I was really excited for this one. And that's why I'm really waiting to play it. But as much as I would love to see some crazy graphics on Salazar and Krauser and like all the great villains in 4, I really don't want them to ruin my game, man. Because look, I could sit, I could be here in one sitting and beat all of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah,
I've done it, man. It's too good of a game, and it was phenomenal, And then having to do all the little side quests, all that kind of stuff, I loved it. But
yeah,
I don't want to see this game get butchered. And if they are gonna touch this game, I would just want a 1-for-1, complete 1-for-1. No, nothing changed.
No extra stuff, no things cut off, nothing like that.
Yeah,
I don't want that either, dude. So that's why I think they should just go with 8 and go with Code Veronica, because that game deserves a remake too.
Definitely. Because that was a really fun one. I really like Code Veronica.
But yeah, that's all I really got to say about the game. I really like the characters. That's the one plus. Like, I really like how, God, the RE engine just always looks so good, guys. It looks extremely good.
I saw on YouTube somebody, it's on PC, this game, and they threw in DMC5's Dante and Ladies models in there for Jill and Carlos, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty good, man. Yeah.
It's just the RE engine itself is just
really good.
Yes, it's so good.
Yeah, like I'd like just thinking back to DMC5 using the RE engine, it's like, oh my god, it was a perfect choice. But yeah, I know people are they don't want the remake for 4, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to do it because of the success of 2 and like all the hype that 3 had. I'm sure that they're thinking about it. But we're probably gonna have to wait for that because of all the RE8 rumors going around.
Yeah. Which is fine. Whatever happens with that game, I love the series, so I'll play whatever.
I will continue buying them.
Yes. Just like Kingdom Hearts, right, Adam?
Dude, don't ask me how many times I bought Kingdom Hearts. You know what I found the other day?
Look.
I found 4 copies of Kingdom Hearts for the PS2. I found my first OG Kingdom Hearts. I found the greatest hits Kingdom Hearts. Then I found Kingdom Hearts 2, the OG, and then the greatest hits Kingdom Hearts 2. And I was like, damn, dude,
this is worse than Skyrim, bro. Like, god damn.
Dude, I have. Okay, the 1.5 and 2.5 remix? I bought them for PS3, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought both of them for PS4. Yeah, I have a problem with this game.
Yeah, but I will admit though, the PS3 case you have though with the art book in it is just really nice.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! Where you get to see what Sora was supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tail. Sora was a furry.
But yeah, man, we don't talk about how many times I've bought Kingdom Hearts and how many times I will continue to buy Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I know you're listening, Square Enix.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Just like Resident Evil, I will end up purchasing every single one of these.
Look, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't RE2 and 3? Weren't they trying to like change the stories up to try to make it all more cohesive, Julian?
So I think they're still trying to be canon to what they were, but at the same time trying to do its own remake world. I'm not too sure. I gotta look into that. There was discussions on that, like official discussions too. So
Yeah, all right, guys. So that's gonna go ahead and wrap us up here today for the episode. Thanks for swinging by, and we'll try to come back next week. Just update you on pretty much what we're doing, right? Because yeah, just the news week is not the biggest. It's definitely the slowest it's been. I'm starting today. Gonna get back into the Clone Wars series. Since the final season is coming out weekly, so I'm gonna get back into that. So that's gonna be a good time. I'll let you guys know. After that, I did buy. I forgot. Fight of Animals dropped on the Switch, and I grabbed that up, and I played a little bit of it, and it's pretty fun. I had to get used to it because it's not what I was expecting. The game has like no quarter circles, and it's a very PC fighting game. When you play PC fighting games, you know, like there's certain things that you could do for loops and combos and all that, and that's implemented in here. But it runs pretty smooth on the Switch. It's a really good time. So yeah, until next time, remember new Marvel Talk dropping. All the other side episodes for the podcast should be on schedule. We're talking manga reviews. We're talking Tower of God. Going to be some good stuff. Maybe we're going to see something new this week. Going to talk to Jerry about that, if he wants to drop that or not. So while we wait for all those episodes, guys, remember Unverse Podcast on social media. You want to stay update when the latest episodes drop. And email us again at unversepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, we'd love to talk about it on the next episode. So that's it for us today, guys. Thanks again for sticking around, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Sweet melancholy, good afternoon. No, I insist. After you, I follow you like religious people will follow scriptures. My external hard drive for real still got a lot of pictures of my ex confirming that my mind's still cloudy. Still wondering at times how she feel without me. Probably better than this, cause this is pretty pathetic. I'm over the breakup now and I don't really regret it. I just wish I could go back and just feel for a second the way I felt when you called me there and you meant it. On the bright side, I've now learned to deal with depression. Sometimes I do feel kinda hollow, but I'm keen to accept it. I almost fell in love twice since we've last spoke. God, it's been 2 years, huh? That's mad, Joe. I wonder if you changed, cause me, I'm still an asshole. Still writing from the heart and making dad jokes. Still main Toon Link when playing Smash Bros. Still spending money fast and staying mad broke. Now more focused, so time feels like it's on fast forward. I've seen some shit, so I guess us was just a crash course. Until a bill at Sharon Point was it a highlight. He was leaving to work each morning, I was high like. You take it easy, Bill, I hope you have a good day. Where are my motherfucking cases, what he would say. Smoking cigarettes while posted on the balcony. All the neighborhood kids calling out to me. Well, I was praying that the blinds were blotting out the weed. St. TJ, Tim, and Cam were always looking out